Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for checking this video out. I've been filming trick tips for quite a long time, and I started to realize how a lot of people really don't go that in depth. I really wanted to make some where I can really show you guys and explain to you as much as I possibly can. So it makes sense that the first one we do in this series is an ollie. Pretty much all modern street tricks come from an ollie, so if you don't have your ollie mastered and know what you're doing with it, you're gonna kind of just screw up with everything else along the road. So hopefully this helps you get your ollie started in the right direction, or if you just need to tune it up a little, it helps you get it straightened out. Alright, so for this trick tip, I have my good buddy Lamont Holt helping me with showing you guys how to do ollies properly. My leg is still messed up, and of course I can't film myself, so I figure this is the best way to do it. And then you guys get to see how my friends do a lot of their tricks. So the first thing for learning how to do an ollie properly is your foot positioning. Of course, every single person is going to do their ollies a little bit different, and you just want to figure out what works best for you. If you just look at how me and Lamont put our feet for an ollie, they're pretty different. Lamont's kind of more duck-footed, and then my ollies are just more kind of straightened out. Another thing for foot positioning too is a lot of people either tend to leave their back foot flat, or they tend to be on their toe a little bit more. I just recently changed how I do my ollies with my back foot because I was always on my toe. My good friend Mickey Papa made me realize that if your foot's flatter on your back foot when you pop, then you get more of a solid pop. So since I've made that change, it has made everything a lot more solid and just kind of evened out a little. Sometimes when you pop off your toe, it tends to make the board either go backside or front side, and that could cause a lot of problems, especially when you're first beginning to ollie. So always try and keep that back foot really flat. Once you figure out your foot positioning and what feels comfortable for you, the next thing that's really important about ollieing is just beginning to get your tail to hit. You're not going to be able to just jump on a board and start ollieing like 2 feet high right away. So the first step is that since it's your left foot and your right foot working together to get the board to move with your feet, it's not just you jumping, it's you actually popping with your back foot, the tail hitting, and then your foot sliding up to level the board out. It's kind of like a teeter-totter effect where you pop in the back, your foot slides up, and then your back foot comes up. But the first step is just learning how to get comfortable with trying to pop off your back foot and having your tail hit. That's the first step to starting to get your ollie down. The next thing after you get comfortable with learning how to make your tail pop is sliding your front foot forward. And most of the time when you do this, your ankle has to give a little bit and tweak and then just slide up the board. So after you pop and your tail hits, as soon as you start to pop the board down, your front foot, you're going to want to start sliding it up, and you engage that with the very edge of your sole on your shoe. And once that engages, it pops, it slides, and then it like pulls the board up with you. Instead of you just trying to jump and your feet come off, you actually pop the tail, the board comes up, and as the board's coming up, you slide your foot up, and then as that's sliding up, it kind of carries the board with you, and you lift your back foot and it levels out. A lot of the times I think it's best when you're trying to learn how to ollie standing still. You'll probably not get injured as often, because if you're just learning how to ollie, you probably don't know how to bail that well, and it's probably best to maybe find some grass to practice in for a while, learn how to get that down, and then slowly take it a little bit faster moving wise. When I first started learning how to ollie, I definitely did it standing still for quite a while, and then after a while I started to figure out that moving it started to make more sense. It started to feel more natural. Alright, so for the first thing when you want to start ollieing moving, for me, I know it was really natural because I learned how to ollie like out in front of a house and there was grass on both sides. So of course there's like cracks in the sidewalk, and the first thing I tried to ollie over was a crack. So I highly recommend that when you're actually moving and your eyes have a target and you need to figure out when to get your timing down to pop and ollie over something, a crack, there's not that much danger of you actually getting hurt. So I highly recommend going to a crack first, ollieing over that a bunch of times, maybe trying to ollie from one crack to the other crack, and then figuring it out from there. Alright, so the next thing, once you get good enough at ollieing over your cracks, is to find a good old curb. And I would recommend first getting good at just rolling off of it. Not really popping your tail, but just kind of having your foot on the tail and just lifting up and then cruising off. That's going to get you ready just for impact and figuring out the timing of when you're going to ollie. So after you do that a couple times, then actually try and pop your tail. It's probably not going to be too high at first, but you'll be able to get the timing and feel your foot sliding up of you ollieing down it. The next thing is ollieing up a curb. So for me, this is like, I have kind of a cool story about it. When I first started skating, I had a dream that I ollied up the curb, and then when I woke up, I went outside, I did it first try. I was so psyched. It was into the grass though, of course, but I would also suggest for your first time learning how to ollie up something, you might want to do it into some grass or something so that you don't slip out, because just the momentum of ollieing up and then getting up, you're a little off balance, so you need to kind of get used to that at first. But once you get that down, ollieing up curbs, like that's the first step to learning how to do manuals, how to learn how to do like grinds, slides, all that stuff. So that's definitely a step you need to take.
All right, one thing that used to help me a lot when I was younger is I'll find an object that was just my height or half of my height, and I'll grab it with both hands and just use this as a grip of balance to just practice my trick. It'll help me get used to the trick before I just go out and do it by myself.
Sick. I'm on tip. All right, so the next thing is learning how to ollie over things that are a little bit bigger. I would suggest ollieing over like a friend's board first, because I don't know, it's always more fun to learn with your friends anyway. But you just take a board, first put it upside down so the graphic is showing, ollie over that first, get it down, then take it, flip it over so it's on its wheels, ollie over that a bunch of times, and then take it and stack it so it's like on its side, which is a little bit higher, but that's like a natural progression where it's really easy to learn how to ollie and just kind of like stay in the air longer. And then after that, you start stacking as many boards as you can, and that's when it really starts to get fun. All right, so once you get all these down, your ollies should be starting to get pretty good. And then from there, it's just a natural progression of trying to, like, instead of just ollieing down a curb, you ollie down 2 stairs. Once you ollie down 2, you ollie down 3. Once you ollie over 1 board, you ollie over 2 boards. And once you ollie over 3 boards, you try and do 4. And you just try and go bigger with it and go faster with it. And eventually, you're gonna be ollieing over like this gap over here. Or you're gonna be ollieing up like a 4 stair or down a 4 stair. And then once you get to that level, ollies are the best. When you have a good solid ollie, you're gonna be so hyped just to do them all over the place. But I hope this trick tip helped a lot. Be sure to like and favorite the video and share it with your friends, and stay tuned. I'm gonna have a lot more of these coming in the future. Thanks Lamont Holt too for helping me film this. And here, what you trying to shout out, bro?
Shout out to my Instagram at Lamont Holt. Please give me some followers. LamontHolt. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Thank you. And just give me a follow. Thank you.
Go do ollies.
And ollies. I love ollies.